A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus said, "Do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I've come not to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven." Jesus here in the Gospel of Matthew clarifying for us his relationship to the Mosaic law, the law of Moses, those 10 commandments given in that story from our history. Jesus has said over and over again, not, "I've come to sweep aside all that is required of the people of faith, but I've come to intensify it." Anytime Jesus is questioned, he says, "The law of Moses sets the bar here, but I say to you, the bar is here." He has not come to take away from us the demands of an ethical, moral, loving life lived in community. Sometimes we reduce, and indeed in this week's gospel, you'll hear Jesus say, on another weekday, that Jesus will say, the great commandment is this: love God, your neighbor. Love God with all your heart, soul, body, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. He says these are the 2 greatest, and all the other commandments hang on these 2. There is none greater than these, but he doesn't say there are no other things that we need to do. Simply that if we love God and love our neighbor, these are the ways that we express that. So I would encourage you to test yourself, pop quiz, as you think about Jesus saying, all of the law matters to me. I've not come to wipe it away. I've come to complete it. I've come to expand your understanding of it. What do you remember of those 10 commandments that perhaps you learned at an earlier time in your life, or if you haven't, what do you know of them off the top of your head from our cultural knowledge? See how many of them you can get, and then perhaps just make a project this week of seeing if you can remember them next week, see if you can find a way to internalize what that law is that Jesus is talking about. Because these are the teasing out and the expression of love God and love your neighbor. The 10 commandments are centered around 3 things. One is our relationship with God. We're to love God with all our heart and mind and strength and not take his name in vain. The other is, the other main component would be, how do we treat other people? What are our ethical obligations to folks? And then the third piece in the middle is, how do you relate to Sabbath, and how do you keep Sabbath, keep it holy? God is always calling us into deeper relationship as you are working your way through this Lent. I hope that you will let God's law and God's description of a beloved community take root in you in a new way this day. And may God bless you and God keep you this day and always. Amen.